Hey, what is happening, Cowboys Nation? And welcome back after what seems to have been quite a while since we've been on a bye week. And happy World Series to all our Ranger fans, friends out
Yeah,
there, and to UMass.
thank you.
That's amazing. I mean,
We
how
we
exciting!
we did not expect to make it. I said before the season started that we'd be on the fringes of the postseason. We've definitely overperformed, and then the postseason run's been magical. Taking out the Astros, amazing. I'm wondering how many
Love it.
fans we're actually going to get to tune in right now to this show, just because, yes, it's the Rangers are in the World Series and it's going on right now, and Rangers fans are a good sized portion of our fan base, so the Cowboys fan base as well. So like we'll see. They can catch us later. We'll be on YouTube. They can catch up to it. But yeah, I'm excited. World Series. Hopefully everything goes well for us.
Yeah. Well, you guys know I was cheering for you just because of my hatred of the Astros.
Yeah,
Um, my Mariners peaked too soon in August and didn't make it, but I think we kind of helped you guys out.
you did. Yeah. And then
So
you guys caught us. You guys caught us when you guys peaked, and you guys
right.
peaked right when we were hitting our low, and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we've peaked again. So hopefully we can hold on to that peak for a little bit longer.
Right. 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 Well, since we don't have a game to talk about last weekend, which was a little relaxing, I have to
It
say.
was. It's always good to have the relaxing. You don't have the stress of the Cowboys are going to play, how we're going to do. Just get to relax and watch some football. So I've always been relaxed on bye weeks and just enjoyed it. Tried to enjoy it as best I can. But we're back at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a really bit of an interesting week. Um, first talk about so you know what? 2 days ago, just 2 short days ago, we had a practice report, injury report. You know what? Wanye Thomas was the only person listed on it, and he was limited, and now he's practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And that lasted for 24 hours. A short
Short
24
time.
hours. And you all have heard the news. And, this offensive line, I don't know if they need to, sacrifice a goat, do something so that this entire line can be healthy for, at least give us a couple of games of it.
Mm-hmm.
But sure enough, Tyron Smith comes up on the injury report.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've been told, it's a stinger in the neck. So it's going to have to be watched. But good gravy.
It
I
is
mean,
gonna. It is something that has to be watched. He has a history of these. We know about his neck pains for a while, his back pains. Um, from what I'm hearing, is they're confident he's a go. They're confident he can play, but it's still something you need to watch because hey, he might be good to go now, but he takes a hit and it kind of tweaks it a little bit and aggravates it, and then he's out. And you're like, hey, where'd Tyron Smith go? Like, why is Chuma in
right.
there again? So
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
something to watch throughout the game.
Yeah. Especially against this off or defensive line that we're going to face with Aaron Donald and that crew.
Mm-hmm.
It would be just really nice to have some continuity
Yeah,
and, you know,
absolutely.
but But on the other hand, we can be thankful that Tyron is the only one listed on it at this point in time. It's great to be almost 100% coming in off
Mm-hmm.
of the bye week, and especially with some of the stretch that we've got coming on. One of the great things is that it's a home game, and we
Mm-hmm.
seem to do really well. Well, I think we've 10 wins at home straight right now.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to put up a lot of points on home games. And I mean, it is a noon kickoff, but we,
Yeah.
we'll be okay. It's noon. It'll be 10 in the morning to those Rams though. So maybe they'll be a little
Yeah.
sleepy.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be weird because I'm actually going to be in Texas this weekend. So going out
Hanging
there to
with
visit.
us.
Yes, we're going to be hanging out, and I was talking to somebody about the game. They were like, "Oh yeah, it's noon kickoff," and I was like, "Noon," and it paused me for a second because I am used to the 10 a.m. and I'm like, "Noon? There's no noon. Oh wait, yeah, it's
Yeah.
noon for you guys." So every time I go out to Texas and there's games on during, I always get thrown off by the times.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I totally understand that. But yeah. So, but if any of y'all are out there and you happen to be going at Texas Live on Sunday, part of the chill crew will be there. Mass, me, Joshy. We're trying to get Tyler, Patty to come on up for it. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, if you guys can make it, we'll be down there. So,
absolutely. Would love to see anybody that makes it down there. Be great to see you guys. Let's. I do want to talk about one thing before we get into the game and everything like that. This trade deadline that's coming up. Um, do you see any action? There's been mixed reports. We've heard Steven, we've heard Jones talk, Steven and Jerry talk. They've both, in my opinion, given conflicting reports themselves. One day it's
just
we're
circles.
nothing, we're nothing, we're not looking, and then we're open 24 hours a day. Everybody, we've been here 30 years. Everybody knows they can call us anytime, and then it's mixed signals right now. There's a lot of hush hush rumors going around. You can never trust Twitter, in my opinion, with these types of things. What are your thoughts on the trade line deadline? Is there anybody you're interested out there? Do you think it's likely? And give me your thoughts, yes or no, if you think something will happen.
So, I have to first thank my dear friend Brian Broaddus this morning for his tweet, because as soon as he sent it out, my phone started blowing up. Hey, what do you know? What do you know? What do you know? And I asked Brian, and of course, I'm always going to, if he tells me it's off the record, then I'm not sharing it with you guys. It's just the way that thing goes.
Mm-hmm.
He flat out said that, he's not going to say anything about what he's heard because, it's all, it's nothing was concrete. I think he said it was muddy waters or something like that. And honestly, he told me that he wasn't going to share anything with me because he didn't want to, jeopardize or put something out there that could, infringe on anything that was going on with, the way Cowboys Twitter can be and everything like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I have to say
Don't
that
let Des get a hold of it.
Right. Yeah, I think I want to say that this front office learned something big from the OBJ circus and the D-Hop debacle with Des and everything like that, that we did see what happened next. Nobody knew about Cooks. Nobody knew about Gilly, that they become very tight-lipped. But I do have to say that from hearing the things that Jerry said, I mean, Jerry's putting it out there. He wants the same thing that happened, that like what happened with Trey Lance, that they came to the Cowboys for it to happen, that he wants us to believe that something has to come here. Now we know Jerry's a huge negotiator. We know that he can play that shell game with the best of them in that way. I honestly want to say is the way that things have been tight-lipped, the way they're talking in circles, the way that Brian couldn't share anything with me at all, that some of the names that might be thrown out there are big. And that it is a big move, because if it was a smaller move, I don't think that they'd be playing those kind of games. I do think that they're in talks with somebody. I think it's someone that's going to be a difference maker. I think it's going to be along the Amari Cooper lines if it can get done. I don't want it to turn into what happened with Brandon Cooks last October, where things were coming down and they just couldn't get something hammered out. So maybe that's why everybody's even more tight-lipped about this. But I do think something could be going on. My hope would be that it'd be with Chicago. And I looked at their draft picks, and they really can afford to give up some players because of the draft capital they have next year. And but I guess I want to say I'm at like 65% something could happen.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
But
who's your pick if you could pick somebody?
If I like anybody I could pick at all, huh?
Well, make it
Or realistically. Okay. Honestly, the way that things are, I would love somebody that would make an impact right away, and it would have to be Jalen Johnson from the
great,
Bears,
great
and
pick.
that we would have that shirt up other outside corner to help out, and that it would just make that secondary that much stronger.
Moves
He
Bland
would
back
be
into his side. Yep.
right. I guess maybe um the tackle from Denver,
Oh yeah.
Garrett
Hmm.
Bowles. He would be my other choice in that. So those are like the two teams I think realistically, and I think those are two players that realistically could be dealt right
Hmm.
now with those two teams, because both those teams right now, if the season ended, I think the Bears have two of the first three top picks right now, and Denver's right up there at like picking at 4 or something like that. So I could see those being some teams that would be on the phone. And let's just clear it all up right now. Sertan is not on the trade block. It's not an option.
Yeah.
The words were no way. He's not. They're
Yeah.
keeping him, and I don't blame them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on the possibility. I kind of, from what I've been hearing and just gathering, kind of the same feeling of, hey, that something's, they're looking at something, whether it can get done or not, I don't know, but they're looking at something. Mine would be, and maybe some people will say this isn't as realistic. I love the Jalen Johnson. Definitely, you were spot on with that one. Mine would probably be Devontae Adams. He does want out, like
Mhm.
so there is a possibility that he gets traded. How likely is it? Probably not very likely, but I think he would, teaming him with CD Lamb would be insane. But his
Right.
contract is crazy, so that's another thing that
Yeah.
we'd have to factor in. um
Yeah.
do
I've
you
heard some
buy
people throw around Devin White too.
oh, that would be interesting. Do you buy the rumors that just came out, I think it was a couple hours ago, that the Cowboys are one of 3 teams that called the Tennessee Titans for Derrick Henry?
No, no.
No,
I don't think that I personally don't think that the running back is the issue here. I
neither
don't
do I.
think that this front office, I don't think this coaching staff thinks the running back is the issue here. I think that it's offensive line. I don't know how
Mhm.
Cowboys Nation, for the love of God, I know you guys want to talk about Derrick Henry. I mean, we've heard a lot of the names coming out with these running backs that you think that we need to be bringing in. But if you guys are watching these game and you're looking at this offensive line, especially when it comes to this run offense, the point of attack is not there that needs to be
They're
for our
struggling.
running backs to be. Yeah, they are struggling. And I cringe every time I see someone say, "Oh, you guys have got you've got the best offensive line in the league." No, we don't. No, we don't. It is not 2016. It is not
Yeah,
2017. It's not even 18 right now.
yeah.
And they are having issues with this. Zach Martin was on 105.3 The Fan yesterday, and he was saying that there are things that they're struggling with. So
Mhm. Yeah,
a running back's not our problem. It's
I
not.
agree. I agree. I would not trade for a running back at all. So
Mm-mm.
that's off the table for me as well. So we'll have to see how the trade deadline works out, and see if they are active. Maybe it's something that at the time it's like not the sexy trade, but it ends up being a really good trade, like last year when we grabbed Jonathan Hankins from the trade deadline. Not
Right.
sexy, not big, not that blockbuster deal, but he has helped out so tremendously and he's been such a big asset for us. So maybe we get something like that because those trades sometimes help a lot. So we'll have to see where we go from here. But hopefully we can see some action. We can see some willing and dealing. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're just gonna have to sit and wait till 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock Eastern on Halloween. See if we get a little trick or treat or not.
Right,
if it's a
right.
trick or if it's a
Seriously.
treat, you know.
Probably
But
a trick. Probably a trick.
yeah, but and you know, we have to understand we've got a couple more days of Jerry spinning that wordsmith around like he does, and
Always.
yeah.
Always. So, okay, so let's get into this game against the wow. I stopped myself, but in my mind, I said St. Louis Rams.
Did you?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
Wow. You went in the Wayback Machine.
Yes, I did. The LA Rams. Give me your thoughts on this team overall, and we'll break it. We'll go into the defense and the offense, but just overall, what are your thoughts about facing the Rams this week?
Well, honestly, you know, at the beginning of the year, I expected them to be last year's Rams, and I was like, "Oh, you know, they're the Rams. They're not going to be very good." And they really have
Mhm.
come out and surprised. You know, that game with the Niners, they've been in it. You know,
Mhm.
even with that game with the Steelers, they should have beat the Steelers in
Yep.
that game.
A bad call.
It's
Mhm.
right, right. This secondary is stronger than I have thought it to be.
Mhm.
Definitely. At the beginning of the year, I thought, oh, people are going to throw all over on them, and they have not.
Mhm.
The and Puka. So I knew what Puka was just because he was a Husky. I hated to see him leave, but I understand why he did because you were net. I mean, if you are either sitting third or fourth or fifth behind Roma Dunze and McMillan and now Polk, he was never going to be seen on that field. And I am so glad that he did leave and that he's having the success he does.
Yeah.
And when Cooper Cup went out, I thought, wow, okay, they're really going to struggle. And Puka has gone off in that fashion. So I'm not nearly as afraid of their running game as I am this passing game.
Mhm.
But I do feel that if that can all come apart because we all know what happens when Matt Stafford's pressured. So I
Yeah.
think that's one of the biggest keys to this game is that get that pressure on Stafford and I think you have to take away the middle of the field when it comes to Cooper Cup because he's dangerous there. And
Absolutely.
I don't know if you do that with a too high safety or how we're going to combat that. But taking Cooper Cup out of the middle, I think is going to be key for this game also.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And like you said, they're a little bit of a weird team. They've played really well. They haven't really finished those close games. You know, they haven't been able to finish those close games against the 49ers, against the Steelers, against the Eagles. They weren't just able to finish them, and they played them tight. They played good. They just couldn't finish the game, and we'll see how the Cowboys respond to that and play to that. They've been a good offensive team. They really have. It's just that they have weapons on the receivers. You talked about Cooper Cup. You talked about Puka. A forgotten guy is Tutu Atwell, who's actually played
Right.
really well. So they have
But you
receivers.
need to watch him. He did it twice in that last game where he's in motion and comes back and he's coming too far forward. He did it
Mhm.
like 2 or 3 times and they
Yeah.
didn't call him for it, so we need to watch him on that one.
Warn the refs beforehand. Absolutely.
Right.
So
Right.
so they have those weapons, like you said. Their run game isn't what's scary, but those receiving weapons are. And then their defense has actually struggled quite a bit this year. So that's their weakness on this. But let's get into a little bit of the matchups, and let's start on our offense, their defense. What are some matchups you're looking for and some ways you think the Cowboys are going to be able to take advantage?
So Kobe Durant is, I think, the weakness in their secondary. And I don't know if that's where you're gonna put Cooks or that's where CD's gonna, primarily be. But I think he's the one that can be exposed in that secondary. So I'm
Mhm.
definitely gonna push towards that. Um Daring Kendrick is a really great player there, and I don't really kind of want to go near him at all. But Byron Young is the one that worries me on their line in the their
Mhm.
linebacker there. And so I want to. I don't think their pass. Am I right that their pass rush isn't as good as their run defense?
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
so
think yeah.
and so, yeah, and you've got Aaron Donald right there in the middle. So Hankins is going to have a great day. We're going to have to see some good stuff out of Mazi and Osa
Mhm.
in that fashion. Um,
So their run defense is the strength of that defense. It starts with Aaron Donald up front.
right.
Their pass defense,
Oh, did I have that backwards? Maybe I had it
yeah,
backwards.
yeah.
But yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
run
yeah, the run
defense. Yeah,
defense is the
yeah,
strength over there,
yeah.
which is interesting
No,
because
I
it's
had it
not
right.
been. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
still foggy.
yeah, you are recovering.
Yeah,
But you had that run defense, and that's where we have struggled this year is to really get our run game off the ground and going, and our blocking hasn't been great, and we've talked about that, and we struggled. So that will be an interesting matchup. I think is can we get any kind of run game going, because if you look at the last time we played the Chargers, who have a really bad run defense, and we still couldn't run the ball. We still struggled. So this line, hopefully during this bye week, has worked on some things to try to get these blocks, and to the second level, get on some linebackers and open up a little bit of holes, these cutoff blocks and stuff like that they've been struggling to do so far this year. And look, I don't think, like we said before, I don't think that the running backs are the issue, but I will say that Pollard is not as explosive yet as he has been before. Now he's still recovering. It's still like he broke his ankle in the playoffs last year, and he's still recovering. But I don't think he's gotten his full explosiveness back. And will he ever get it back? I don't know, but it's definitely not back right now. So
but speaking of back, Jeff Blasco is back, and I think that I hope that's going to help. That
yeah,
he is back. We're glad that he is back and he's healthy and he's back with the team and everything like that.
yes.
I don't know if that's going to help and make a difference in that fashion.
If you're listening, you're wondering who that is. That's the running back coach for the Cowboys. And he is back. He's been off he hasn't been with a team since the season started. So hopefully that helps out. But hopefully Tony Pollard can get going again, and Rico Dowdle can get some going, and this line makes these blocks, and we can go. But this is going to be a difficult challenge because, like I said, they do have that really good run defense. There, and with the Rams, it's their pass defense that I think can be exposed. Now, are we going to scheme up an offensive game plan that's going to help expose that? That's the big question.
You know what I miss?
Hmm.
The deep crossers to CD.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Remember who
They were
used to do
unstoppable.
those?
They were unstoppable.
Remember who used to call those for us?
I can't. I'm not allowed to say his name anymore. I get blasted every time I say his name.
I know, but
So I mean, I can't even talk about Mike McCarthy anymore, because the minute I bring up Mike McCarthy's name, I get blasted about people calling me a Kellen Moore lover. So it's like, man, I can't even say anything about anybody else, But it is what it is. I do miss that though, absolutely. And we've got to bring something back. We've got to get it open. We got to get it moving, flowing. CeeDee Lamb in the flow. Get Brandon Cooks in the game.
yes,
Get Brandon Cooks in the game. Like, we brought him here for speed, and we're not using speed on him at all.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for me. So I think our advantage is getting CeeDee Lamb, getting Brandon Cooks, Gallup as much as we can. I've been very disappointed in him.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, honestly, I'm going to say it, getting Jalen Tolbert some more opportunities, because every time he's got an opportunity this year, he has played and he's done well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might be time, if Gallup can't start stepping it up, that Tolbert needs to get some more looks.
Would you, if he was part of a trade package on Tuesday, would you be okay with it?
Which one?
Gallup.
Perfectly fine with it. Perfectly fine with it. I would use him as a bargaining tool.
Do you have anybody on the defense that you would be okay if they were part of a trade package?
So normally I would say Jordan Lewis, but I think we're too thin as cornerback
Mhm.
right now to say Jordan Lewis. I'm actually I'm gonna say a name that might surprise some people. I like
It might
him.
be the same one that I'm thinking.
I like him. He's very good, and I don't even think but I think he'll bring more with his name and what he's done than some other people. And so I'm gonna say Dorrance Armstrong.
Oh, that's not who I was going to say.
Okay, who are you thinking?
Neville Gallimore.
That's another one. Yeah, I just think
You know?
like I was thinking Dante Fowler a little bit, but I was like, you know what? I think Dorrance Armstrong will draw a bigger
Right.
prize,
Right.
and I still think that we have enough pass rushers to make up for that if Dorrance Armstrong is traded. And I know there's some diehard Dorrance Armstrong fans. There's some truthers out there that love him. Might be mad at me for saying that. I get it. I like Dorrance Armstrong a lot too, but I think
Yeah.
we can replace. He is replaceable. We have the pass rushers, and I think he can package him with some picks, and you might be able to get something good there.
Yeah. I was thinking Neville Gallimore because number one, he's free agent next year.
Yep.
We know what we've drafted Fajoko. We've got Mozzie, I more than likely he's not a Cowboy next year. And he's not going to probably draw a kind of contract that we will get a comp pick for him.
Yeah.
So this might be the best way for us to get some value out of him if it was the case. But, you also hate to give up that depth, especially because Mozzie's not up to speed. Fajoko probably won't see the field unless we're ahead by a gazillion points.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So, but yeah, he was my one piece on defense that I thought maybe, but
yeah, no, I could see it. I could see it. I talked about trading him in the offseason. I was wondering if he was going to make the roster, but he made the roster and he's actually played pretty well this year.
He has.
So I don't want to be too harsh on him.
No, I'm not being harsh.
Well.
Yeah. I'm just looking at who we have in what position and what could actually, because it's not going to be out of the linebackers. It's not out of the safety room. It's not out of the corners at this point in time.
Yeah.
So
it has to be along the defensive line, in my opinion, because we're too thin at linebacker. We're too thin at cornerback. So like if a move happens and we use safeties too much, like we use too in the game. So if it has to be a linebacker, if it has to be a defensive player, it's got to be along the defensive line, whether it's interior or outside. It'll be a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Okay, so let's
to be determined.
yes. Let's switch over to the other side of the ball, and actually, we didn't really talk about our offense too much. We talked about them a little bit. What kind of game are you expecting from Dak today? Let's phrase it like that, or not today, but Sunday.
I think my one worry is Aaron Donald in that pressure. Honestly, is my biggest worry in this situation is we know how disruptive he can be, but who is it? I think it's Byron Young actually has the most sacks on that team right now at 3. So I guess but we know that Dak can perform under pressure. I think Dak, I think we're going to air. I just feel like this is the game that we air the ball out, that we actually are going to get that going.
Yeah, no, I hope it is. To be completely honest with you. I hope it is, because we need to open up this playbook a little bit. We're playing way too conservative of football on the offensive side, and I get it. They're trying, you're talking about complimentary baseball. Baseball. I'm watching this World Series games on, so I apologize. I got a little bit confused, but complimentary football, and you have your you want to play offense that benefits your defense and defense that benefits your offense. I get it. But we're playing way too conservative to the fact that, okay, we're calling plays and doing things, playing for a field goal instead of a touchdown. We're playing it safe, and playing it safe is not going to win you anything in the NFL in the league this nowadays. So we need to open Dak up. Dak is at his lowest average depth of target for his entire career. He's getting the ball out quick. He's doing his drops, but it's so quick, and it's that the wide receivers don't have time to really get
It's
into
just
any
dink
develop
dunk.
any route. Yeah, it's dink and
Right.
dunk. And yeah, Dak is doing it efficiently, but that's why we have so many long drives. You're relying on Dak to be Superman on third downs constantly. Constantly allowing, hey Dak, go bail us out of 3rd and 7. Hey Dak, it's 3rd and 9 now. You bailed us out of 3rd and 7. Hey, go get this 3rd and 9 now. It's constant, and he's doing it well. But when it gets into the red zone, it gets tighter in there. That's when we're bogging down. So we were a little bit better in the red zone against the Chargers. Not great. We still only put up 20 points in the game. So we've got to open it up a little bit. We've got to threaten people a little bit downfield, like 15, 20 yards downfield. We got to start threatening people. And right now we're not. So I think Dak will have a big game if we call the right type of game and let Dak has an arm. Let him throw it. Let it rain,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I think Brandon Cooks can really come alive for this offense, is if you start letting him get downfield. And so hopefully those play calls are coming. Dak will hit it, and we can have expose that secondary a little bit.
Right. And they do have one questionable injury right now on their defense, and that's Ernest Young in there. So I don't know how much of a factor that'll be, but
yeah,
we have that on that side. Yeah, I agree. This has been so frustrating because we were so excited about Brandon Cooks coming on, and it was like, 1,000 yards, seeing him get 1,000 yards with so many less adequate quarterbacks.
Davis Mills.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. Yeah, absolutely. And so we got to start using him right. CeeDee Lamb's been frustrated. So I hear you for all those people who are saying, hey, we're implementing a new offense. I get it, but it's got to start rolling. And you can say execution, that's the issue, but it's also, there's some play calling. There's questionable play calling, questionable route combinations. It's not been pretty on the offensive side of the ball, scheme wise, in my opinion. So hopefully we can get that turned around. Hopefully the bye week helped with that and figuring out, okay, what do we need to do to get this offense rolling? Okay, so
McCarthy better been in that office 24/7.
Seriously, you don't take a break. Let's get into their offense against our defense, and I think this is where it's strength versus strength. Their offense is really good, pretty good. Their offense is very good passing the ball, like we talked about earlier. Not so great running the ball, which is great for us because our defense thrives on pass defense and has been actually fairly good on run defense this year, but still gets shaky at times this year. It has been. Arizona game, of course, comes to mind. But give me your thoughts on some matchups there, how you feel about our defense with their offense.
Well, Havenstein is questionable, and I think that's going to be huge on the fact of being able to get that pressure on Matthew Stafford on that side. Both of their guards are fairly strong, isn't it? Noteboom and Avila. Yeah. But I think both their tackles are weaknesses for them. So I think you can get around that edge. So like we talked about, Dorrance Armstrong, Sam Williams, Tank, Micah, let's get that edge going.
Yeah,
I'm not
especially if haven't seen can't go, then it's even
right,
worse. Yeah.
right. Um, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, I need to have. And here's the thing I struggle with is that this is a game that if we still had Diggs, I would be so happy that Bland was in the slot to
Yes.
take that extra away with Cooper Cup in the middle and everything like that. And we just don't have the luxury of putting Bland in there. And I don't like the matchup of J. Lou against Cooper in that area.
Hmm.
So I guess I'm going to need Curse and Hooker and Bell and that crew to really take over in the middle there and take that away, because I think that's going to be important, that if we can take away the middle of the field,
Yep.
that we can get them covered on the outside. So I think that's probably one of my biggest ones right there.
No, yeah, you're 100% spot on about that. I'm worried about Cooper Cup and Puka over the middle. They have that ability and to really hurt teams, and they have hurt teams all year long. And we see that Cooper Cup has that deceptive speed when he gets the ball in his hand, where he can take it to the house. So we've got to be very careful. It would be I would love to have Diggs for this game. This is the game that you want Diggs and need Diggs for.
Mm-hmm.
Bland's got to step up. I'm a little bit worried about matchups with Gilly on the outside, and just because they go over the middle, like you said, and that right now is where Gilly is struggling the most.
Right.
If you're running a route straight up on him, he's staying with you. But if you're crossing across the field, he's struggling to stay with these guys because he doesn't have the same speed that he used to. He's getting older. He's lost a step. So you have that issue. He's been beat across the middle sometimes. And this year, so that's something that I'm definitely worried about. And basically what has to happen in those situations, we got to get home. The rush
Mm-hmm.
has to get home. Micah
Right.
Parsons, D Law, Osa, we need you guys in Stafford's face all night. And, that it's going to have to happen, because if you give Stafford some time to throw, he's going to pick you apart with
Right.
Puka and with Cooper Cup, and it's going to be a long night. So
And
our
then you
pass
throw in a little
rush,
tutu in there
and you
too.
go throw a tutu with a deep
And that
ball.
speed.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to have a really, really long night. And don't forget, I mean, he's, not the best, but he is a reliable tight end in Tyler Higbee.
Right.
So, Curse has got another game where, hey, you've got a decent receiving tight end who can get first downs and move those chains. So while their run game is not very great, their run game struggles a lot. You've got to look out for these receiving weapons, and even their running backs are better receivers are better at receiving than they are at running.
Yeah.
So you've got to watch out. You've got to be prepared, and this pass rush has to get home, because if this pass rush doesn't get home, we're in for a long night.
It is Sean McVay too.
Yes.
I got to give that man credit too.
Yeah. One of the best offensive minds in this game. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think Matthew Stafford is a lovely gentleman, but I hope you have a horrible day.
Yes.
That
Very
you
much
can
so.
just lay down and take a little nap right there on ATT floor.
Yeah, and look, we know that, like you said earlier, we know, get pressure in Matthew Stafford's face, he
Mhm.
will make those mistakes. He
Right.
will make those. He will give you the ball back. So
Mhm.
that's what we got to do. That's what we have to focus on, is getting pressure on him, making it a long day for him. Don't give him that time to throw, because guess
Yeah.
what? Cooper Cup and Puka are going to be open.
They
So
do have one position that is a very much unknown, and we could treat it as a weakness right now. They just let go of Cowboys legend Brett Maher,
they
and
did.
they have a brand fresh new kicker.
Yes, that is actually very good, because if you can if you can stiffen up, I guess, in the red zone and keep them out of the red zone, make them kick field goals. With Maher, I felt really comfortable with him missing it.
Right.
Now it's an unknown, so you don't know, but they're gonna be holding their breath every time they line up for a field goal to see what they got. So that is something that could be a benefit because we have Brandon Aubrey, who is outstanding.
Automatic.
We have a
Who'd
kicker.
have
We have a
thought? Who'd
kicker.
have thought? We were
And
all
coming into
so
this
worried in
season, yes,
preseason, going, "What are we doing?"
Brandon Aubrey, who is one of the most incredible stories. The man never kicked a field goal in college. Never kicked a field goal in college. He played soccer, was drafted by the MLS. Never kicked a field goal, and his very first field goal was in the NFL. Like, that just blows my mind. Imagine any other position. Like, hey, your very first pass is in the NFL. Your very first catch is in the NFL. It's wild. But you know what?
Yeah.
He has been perfect, except the one missed PAT, the very first one, and we all kind of like, oh, here we go again.
Right. All you
He's been
soccer
perfect
moms,
since.
they're all out there
Yes,
taking notes, going, "Oh, my kid's gonna be a kicker in the NFL."
that's right. That's right. Soccer doesn't work out. They can just go to kicking in the NFL. They don't even need
Actually,
practice.
I just bypass soccer, and he's gonna be a kicker in the NFL. Forget it.
There you go. There you go. But no,
But
that's a great point you bring up. Is their kicking situation is questionable.
does that make you feel like they're not going, because he is new in that situation, that they may not, would they or would they not be more willing to go after a 2-point conversion in that situation with a new kicker?
That's a good question. I think they probably will give him a chance to kick PATs. But the question is hey, it's 4th and 5 and it's a 53-yarder. Maybe they don't run the kicker out there and they say, hey, maybe we're going for this 4th and 5. Or maybe, hey, we're just going to punt this. You know what I mean? Or if it's like a 4th and 8, they're just like, hey, we're going to punt it. We don't trust him to hit 50, make a 53-yarder, because if he doesn't make it, then giving the Cowboys short field. So that's definitely something to look out for and see what they do and the decisions they make. Knowing McVay, they're probably going to go for it. But we'll have to see what the down and distance is. But that's definitely a good thing to look out for. So let's get into some predictions. Okay. Let's go and let's start with your offensive player of the game.
My offensive player of the game is going to be Dealine Lamb.
You took mine.
I think
okay.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
I look at these matchups, I look at the situation, and with their pass rush, and I just feel like this is a seedy game. Like we said, home game. They're in AT&T. They like to air it out. Well, they used to like to air it out. We hope they air it out. And the other thing is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they play a lot of zone, and Dak can pick apart zone much better than man.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that this is the game that we see CD go off.
Okay. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking CD over the middle was gonna be a big thing, but I'll change it up, and I'll go with my guy. Jake Ferguson.
Wow.
I see him taking over.
Little redemption for the tight ends.
Yes, little redemption for the tight ends. There's been too much talk about trading for tight ends. We do not need any other tight end. We just need to use our tight ends. So Jake Ferguson, I think he's going to be a killer in converting those third downs that we all know we're going to be in, and also the red zone. Be a red zone target. I'm going to give Jake Ferguson 2 touchdowns this week. 2 touchdowns. Jake Ferguson has a big week. So there we go. Let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. And who's your defensive star of the game?
So I mentioned how I would like him to switch positions, but it's Bland. I want Bland to have that game. I want him to, I don't care which one he's on, I want him to shut them down. I think that's going to be vital in this game. And for us to win is to take one of them out of the equation. And I just feel like it could be Bland that can do it.
Yeah. Okay. I like that one. I'm going to go with Micah Parsons. And he's
He
been
was my
playing
other one.
great. He's been playing great. But he hasn't been getting home as often as we used to. He didn't have a sack against 49ers. He had one sack against the Chargers, but it wasn't until like the second to last play of the game. And so it was in the big moment, and it was great. We needed it at that moment. So, hey, credit to him. But, I think this is the game where he kind of gets back on track with his sacks, going against switching back and forth between Jackson. And if Havenstein can't go, Zach Thomas maybe is starting over there. So I think that's a huge matchup for him, mismatch for him. So I'm expecting a big game for Micah Parsons to get that pressure, and we're going to need it to get that pressure on Matthew Stafford. So that's my defensive player of the game. What is your bold prediction?
Bold prediction, just because we have talked about the key that Matthew Stafford having pressure on him, we know he'll give up the ball, that we have. I'm going to go ahead and say that there'll be one cornerback that gets an interception, one safety, and let's throw a linebacker in there just for fun. That's my bold.
I like it.
All three of those levels are going to get an interception.
All three of those levels. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of combining mine in with my defensive player of the game, in Micah Parsons. I'm going to say, like I said, he's going to start stacking up those sacks again. He's going to get into that column. I'm giving him 4.
Nice.
4 sacks this game, because
the Lion's going to eat.
The Lion's going to eat these tackles up. I really think so. So, and he's heard the talk. There was a lot of talk. There was some talk this week about, he wasn't even in the top 10 of sacks, and all this mess. The media has been going after him because he went after that. He said some stuff about them. So Micah Parsons take the week off. I think he's going to come back, and I think he's going to come out beastly. So 4 sacks for Micah Parsons this week.
And can I address the fan base real quick about Micah? Let the man talk. Let him. If he wants to talk about, you know what? I have sat right in this seat. I've talked about it on this show. I was on the Birds versus Boys podcast last year, who will be joining us next week for the Eagles game, Eagles preview. I have literally said the exact same thing as Micah has, that Philly was the most complete team at that time, and that Micah's talking about. I mean, we have to get through our head, number one, they don't have the same hatred for other teams. You have to remember they played with some of these guys in college on these other teams. It's not the same disdain that they have. And he was being honest. And I even saw tweets going off about that. Micah, he says that he fears them, or he's afraid of them. And you know what? There are probably people on every other team in this league. They're like, yeah, I'm afraid of Micah Parsons. Yep, I'm afraid of him.
Yeah.
It's not awful that he's getting to talk. And then I've heard, he shouldn't be talking at all. Well, you know what? Why can't he talk? You know what? I love the Kelsey brothers.
Yeah.
New Heights podcast is freaking phenomenal. I absolutely love it. And I want them to continue to do it. And if Micah can develop one and have a great time, let him do it. It's not hurting anything. It's not hurting his play. He doesn't want to be an Eagle because he said they were a great team. It's just a little infuriating. Sorry, y'all. But I had to get that out.
Cam's rant for the night.
Yeah, I don't have my old pumpkin pillow where I would be holding on to it right now. But just let the guy have fun,
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But they're allowed to talk. They're allowed to have their own opinions. Just like everybody else, we all have our opinions. Twitter people have their opinions. these players are allowed to have their opinions. Like, it's okay. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't get the fans that get upset about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be more upset with the guys that are betting, that are, that could be throwing, the whole Calvin Ridley thing. Be upset about that kind of stuff, not about some guys being honest about football.
No, I agree with you.
So,
Okay,
sorry.
so nope, perfectly fine. Let's get into our score predictions for the game. What do you got? What's your score? Who you got winning?
I have Cowboys 27-20.
27-20. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I do like it. I got it a little bit bigger, not a great, not like a complete blowout or anything. I had it 24-10. I think that the Cowboys defense, a week of rest, playing at home, playing on turf. If you haven't, I've noticed this year, especially Cowboys defense is so much faster on turf, so much faster. They're so fast on turf.
Mm-hmm.
So at home, playing on turf field, they're going to be flying around. I think that's going to benefit them. So I think they're going to have a really great defensive performance again. Maybe I think a pretty good special teams performance. The offense is just going to go with the flow that they're normally going to. So I got it 24-10. Cowboys win.
Nice. I like that very much.
And then we are also doing our score competition again this week. So I will tweet that out here. I'll get it out sometime between now and the game. I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, so I'll try to get it out sometime tomorrow. And so make your score predictions on that one, retweet it. And the winner, some people asked me questions on the last one. Oh, did I win? Who won? Nobody won. You got to get the score exactly right. It's not the closest. It's whoever predicts the score correctly.
Right.
We'll get that free T-shirt from Twisted Gorilla. So I'll put that competition out again. And Cam, you got something to share as well, right?
We do. And, we're trying to build up that YouTube channel, guys. And we do have a signed, let me see, can we get the autograph on there? Yep, there it is, right there. Signed. It's got the sticker, it's got the authenticity certificate, everything. It is a signed Michael Gallup jersey.
There we go.
Get to 1,000 followers on YouTube. I am going to mail this to someone.
I love it.
It's an extra large. I don't know if any of you actually wear it because it should probably go into a frame.
Yeah, go into a frame. I wouldn't wear it.
Yeah, right there. Michael Gallup. Yep. But we're not going to do it. Not going to do it unless y'all
hit that subscribe button.
Yep.
Hit that bell.
Share it. Get your friends.
Absolutely. Share it out. So subscribe, share it out, let everybody else share it out so they can subscribe. And then we can get that follower count, the subscription count up. Once we hit that 1,000, we will do a random drawing of all the subscribers. And one lucky subscriber will win that signed Michael Gallup jersey. So I wish I could win it. I want another signed jersey, but we won't be involved in the drawing. So just make sure
we are not eligible.
Yeah. So just make sure you hit that subscription button, like I said, and share it out. Hit that bell notifications to let you know when we go live or we post a video when something comes up. And we'll go from there. We'll be back next week, hopefully after a victory against the Rams. Prepare for the Eagles, and we will have our guest on. Did you want to tell them a little bit about the guests?
Yeah, the guys, it's a great podcast. There are two guys from Philly. One loves the Eagles, one loves the Cowboys. It is the Birds versus Boys podcast. They will be joining us. Great guys, a lot of fun. I'm not sure they do an Eagles Cowboys hate week or something like that. And I don't think it's this week. They might be saving it for the game later and coming up. So, but they did a really fun thing last year. They had creators from both sides and they did segments with us, and we got to do, talk about what the rivalry meant and, everything like that. But they're a lot of fun. they'll be joining us next week. And we actually both will be on the West Coast at that point in time, because I will be out in Phoenix for the NASCAR championship race. And Mass will be back home by then. So
I will be back home. Yes. I'll just gotten home. So yeah.
But remember, if any of you all are at Texas Live on Sunday for the game, we will be there. Come by and say hi. And,
absolutely. Love to have a chat.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you everybody for coming. We have to say go Rangers first of all.
Go Rangers. We're a little bit behind right now, but we'll catch up.
That's right. But we will talk to all of you next week, and go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.